The next season preview we have is the Carolina Hurricanes. Going into this coming season, they are definitely a contender to win the Stanley Cup. Right up there, top of the league. One of the teams that we know will be contenders and try to win the Stanley Cup, as trying to make it last year, but also being swept. Again, in the Eastern Conference Final, they got swept by the Bruins in 2019, and then they got swept by the Florida Panthers this past playoff round. So we'll see how they do. But last year was interesting because during the playoffs, they did not have Andrei Snezhnikov. They did not have Max Pacioretty. They did not have Teuvo Teravainen. Well, he came back the last game or two. Those are guys that, especially Snezhnikov, out of them all, is that guy who can score and a big difference maker. But they did fantastic without those guys, showing the depth of this team. Looking at their drafting, they don't really need much because they already have such solid guys. They have their own first round pick for the next 3 years. They have Phillies, and they don't have their own fifth round pick of 2025. That's about it. Talking about drafting now. Moving on now to the team, the forwards, the amazing offensive team and defensive, more defensive than offensive, but they're still a great offensive team too. Looking at Sebastian Aho, he just signed an extension at $9.75 million for the next 8 years. He will be a Carolina Hurricane probably for his whole career or close to it. Wanting to stay in Carolina in Raleigh. At 9.75, like I said, his deal before was 8.46 million. We'll see how that, how he does for the next 9 years of his career, right? So pretty cool to see that. Aho is definitely the franchise, the number one center. So good to keep him around as they are a contender. Teuvo Teravainen is a UFA this coming season. So he has 1 year left on his $5.4 million deal. He's 28. We'll see how he does. Last year was a down season for him. We'll see how he bounces back, knowing that it is a contract deal for him. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, he has 7 years left on a $4.82 million deal. We'll see how he does as he progresses. He's only 23. Obviously was used to be with the Habs, now with the Carolina Hurricanes after that offer sheet. And last year was a step in the right direction. As we'll see even more from him, we'll see how things go. Michael Bunting signed in free agency. Um, this year at $4.5 million for the next 3 years. He's 27. Played with the Leafs last couple years, played pretty well, and now he finds himself in Carolina. Now you have Marty Necas at $3 million the last year on his deal. Played absolutely fantastic. Marty Necas, proving that deal is just gonna be double, maybe triple. I doubt triple, maybe double, a little bit more than double, right? For Marty Necas. $3 million is definitely not what he's worth. He's definitely worth a lot more than that. And we'll see how he does. As that's one of the franchise guys, Necas, Aho, guys like that, right? So you definitely want to lock down Marty Necas for sure. Jordan Staal is the captain. He signed just recently, in the offseason, signed a $2.9 million deal for the next 4 years, team friendly. After having $6 million for a little time there, right? So Jordan Staal stays at the captain, and it's pretty nice to have him back. I'm sure he likes to be back there, right? Jesper Fast signs a deal, re-signing with the Hurricanes this season at $2.4 million. He's a good depth guy, right? Top nine. Jordan Martinook finish up a deal this year at $1.8 million. He's good energy forward. That's where he has an A on his sweater. Good to have him. Jack Drury is a good young forward at center. We'll see how he does this coming year. Seth Jarvis is a fantastic offensive small guy, but can score. Definitely is going to get a raise next year. He is an RFA, so we'll see how he does. At only 21-year-old, pretty good. Brandon Lemieux, they signed him, and Stefan Nason. We'll see how he does after having a pretty solid season last year for Nason. So that's the forward group there. A lot to break down. Um, I'm sure we're going to see a bounce back season from Teuvo Teravainen. Definitely going to see good stuff from Aho like usual. Marty Necas, expect the same thing again. That offensive, just you know, scores and the points he gets and all that. Um, we'll see how Bunting does in the mix of it all. Seth Jarvis, like I said, he's gonna get a big raise. Um, him and Nature's, like I said, big raise. This is mean that Taylor Vinen has his last year in Carolina. We'll see how that goes. It really all depends on his bounce back year for Taylor Vinen. But if they can, bounce back for Taylor Vinen, that's great. Because like I said, Nature's and Jarvis are going to command a lot of money. So we'll see how everything works out. But pretty cool there. Moving on now to the defense here. Dmitry Orlov, Jacob Slavin, Brett Burns, Brady Shea. Actually, just look at those three there. They have 2 years left between Orlov, Slavin, and Burns. Obviously, they just signed Orlov to a deal, to a 2-year deal, 7.75. You're looking at, after that, Brady Shea, Brett Pescich, Anthony D'Angelo, Caleb Jones, and Jalen Chatfield. Those are all UFAs next year. This blue line could be different again, like I said, but hey, it'll be tough to keep a lot of these guys around the next couple of years. Orloff, he's 32 already. Brad Burns, he's 38, but he doesn't play like a 38-year-old. He plays like a 20-year-old. He plays like in his prime, especially with the Carolina Hurricanes. Um, this team's gonna be different. Some guys gonna have to part ways with. Some guys gonna keep. Um, we'll see who those guys are. Brett Pesich might be that guy. Even though he's a solid guy, he might be a guy that um gets moved if he's too expensive. Maybe they sign Slavin in the next couple of years. Maybe they keep Brady Shea after this year. Tony D'Angelo. It's going to be a lot of things, interesting things, right? We'll see how things go. But that defense is fantastic. Hopefully they can win a cup with that decor. Looking at the goalies, they have three: Freddie Anderson, Petro Kochekov, and Antti Ranta. Ranta gets injured frequently, so I will say Kochekov will get some time. Quality starts in the NHL. Well, same thing with Freddie Anderson. He gets injured too, so we'll see how things go. Pretty good there. And like I said, Shnestakov is a guy I brought up already. He's going to be one of the best out there at 7.75. He has 6 years left. He is 23, and he'll play fantastic. We'll see how he does after being on injured reserve with his Achilles heel, tearing that before the playoffs. Terrible, right? Moving on to the professional tryouts, we have Nick Shaw and Nathan Beaulieu, a forward and a defenseman. We'll see if they make the team. Um, we'll see if they get a contract. Some do, some don't. So we'll see how the preseason goes. Talking about some prospects, obviously this is a contender, so you're not going to have the depth of the prospects like you would with teams that are rebuilding, right? Um, but one of them that really comes to mind is a Russian defenseman here. And obviously he's under a KHL contract, so he can't come to the NHL just yet. But that's Alexander Nichushkin. He's about 6'4". He's a really solid offensive defenseman. Like I said, he's 6'4", big guy, but can get the puck to the net, and he's pretty good. He's developed his offensive game quite well in Russia. Another defenseman to talk about is Scott Morrow. He's 20 years old. Like I said, Nujiskin there, he's 21. Morrow, he plays for UMass. He's a pretty solid defenseman. Can move the puck pretty well. Those are the guys. Kochekov, Kovalin is a winger. He's a left winger. He makes some, good plays. He will be in the AHL next year, so turning pro, we'll see how everything works out. Sometimes it works great, sometimes it doesn't. So we'll see how that works out. So thanks for watching. NHL Cartoon Supports. I do think this team obviously makes the playoffs. Top 5 in the league, right? So we'll see what happens. And I'll see you next video. Bye.